I'm going to give you a little rundown on how I make my precision multi-point scissor hinges. So the way that I use have designed my scissor hinges, and I'm going to show you here, is to utilize minimal material, high strength material with like an optimized thickness, thrust bearings and anti-wear washers to result in what's essentially going to be like a lifetime scissor hinge that you don't really have to service. That's the aim of the game anyways. So I've got a bunch of the material here. I'm going to lay it out and I'm going to show you how I build the set. Yeah, let's get to it. All right, folks. So I've got my brush retainer here. I've got my drum sander tool here, and I've got my bag full of scissor hinge components. So I'm going to give you a rundown on what those components are and why I've chosen to use them. All right, I'm back. I just got some random hardware that I found in my shop. Gonna make sure I don't drill this into the top of my truck. Exactly what I didn't want to do. So the name of the game today, got my safety glasses on this time. Thank you to the advice of one of the other watchers. Now, I've got all these scissor hinge components laid into this retainer that's going to hold it still, so that I can use this drum sander to give it a nice finish. The laser shop where I had them cut already did that on one of them, just trying to clean them up. I've requested that they do not do that in the future, and then I can clean them up myself. Okay, see that? I don't want that because I want to give it an even finish myself. That shouldn't be too hard to fix. So, Bad Omen, I've given my shop a name, and that's Bad Omen Hot Rods, and that is kind of homage to my grandparents that came here from Ireland in the 50s. Now, aside from that, the scissor hinge design. So, anytime you have a component that is a bent piece of steel, first off, you have to have that increased material, and you got to figure out all your tolerances and the way that it's going to bend in AutoCAD and the way that it's going to bend in real life with whichever material you're using. There's ways to figure that out, or you can ensure that you have the exact same dimensions every single time by incorporating a relief cut and kind of like a jigsaw. So here, I'll show you what I've done. So this is the top of the hinge, or the part that mounts to the bed of the truck. Now what I've done is, if someone wants to mount this on their truck and bolt it just like this to the square tubing, they can. They're good to go. They don't have to use this piece. If they want to mount this to the bottom of the square tubing, well, then they got this part right here, just like that. And it fits in nice and tight with like almost zero, there's like zero slop in that. Nice and tight. And now they can mount it like that, or they can mount it like that, depending on however they want to mount it. So there's 4 ways to mount each one of these brackets because of the way that they're built. Now I'm going to be building these as sets of hood hinges as well, utilizing that same kind of design concept. So this is the lower part that mounts to the lower part of the truck. Now, same thing. This same bracket mounts in there, and then you TIG weld it there, or MIG weld it, however you want to do it. You can put carbon steel MIG weld on stainless steel. It's not really going to do anything. It's going to decrease the corrosion resistance of this stainless steel. First, when you use carbon steel to fill it, and then when you heat it up. So that's the only downside to MIG welding it with carbon steel. Now, again, you can mount it like that, or you can mount it like that, or you can mount it with 2 bolts on either side. It's up to you how you want to mount it. But 4 ways to mount each part, and it costs less to build it. Now, only 4 arms. That's another thing that I noticed is all these other guys building these scissor hinges, they use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like multiple hinges to accomplish the same task. On top of that, they double up on the width of it, so they make it really bulky unnecessarily. So I've designed them in such a way that with the thrust bearings, and then you offset the planes that the arms are all mounted on, it just increases the strength, and then you can achieve the same thing with less material. So again, decreases the cost. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to clean these up, and then we'll see what an assembled set looks like. So let's plug this in first. That'll probably help. See how those turned out. Oh, look at all this shine. Look at the shine that I got on that. Let's change the hue of this light a bit. There we go. There we go, folks. Look at that. That is beautiful. So now we'll flip this whole bracket around and we'll do the other side. Alrighty, let's quickly clean these off and see how they look. Oh, they look beautiful. Those look beautiful. Look at that, folks. Oh, it's so nice. So nice. And that logo turned out pretty nice. I like it. Bad Omen. Little play on words there, because the last family's last name is Omen, but it's spelled differently from Omen. That's cool. I think it looks pretty nice. If you guys would like me to modify the brand or the logo or the text, let me know. I don't mind. Yeah, I think everyone's going to know whose hinges these are and where to get them. And I would appreciate it if you buy a set, pass on the link, let friends know where you got them, and hopefully more people will order them, and I'll just be able to keep improving them. R&D, research and development. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it results in something like this. So I'll show you a couple of the other components that I'm using, the thrust bearings and the PTFE washers and how they work. All right, folks, we're back the very next day, and I was able to get some of the hardware that I needed for a couple sets of hinges here. Now, I'm gonna have to revise my design and modify the bore size on all the holes for the hinges, because finding hardware in the size that I chose is proving to be pretty difficult. And it's going to require additional work where I have to cut about, I don't know, 1/2 inch off the tip of every single one of these bolts. and there's 42 of these bolts, so that's no good. I'm gonna make them look nice, I'm gonna make them look perfect, and I bought the correct tool to resize the bolts, but nonetheless it will take more work and more time to build a set, and I don't want that. So let's build a set of these hinges and see how they turn out. Okay. Make sure all my washers are correct here before I tighten everything up. There we go. There. Should be almost no slop in these now. Oh yeah, that's nice. That is like smooth. There. Now these guys, this one's gonna go right here. And then this one, I could really put it anywhere I wanted to. Put it there, put it here. Yeah, that's almost perfect like that. I kind of like that. Because then you don't cover up the design at all. We shall see. But I gotta build a few more sets of these. We gotta figure out how these bolts go. There, I think that looks pretty good. All right, this is the first hinge that's loosely assembled. I have not cut the bolts down to the correct size yet. Once I get that figured out on the absolute correct size for bolt, I'm just gonna order a whole bunch of custom bolts for these hinges specifically based on my requirements. Trying to find a bolt off the shelf is very challenging and no good. I don't like that. So we gotta modify this. So this is how this hinge sits. All this stuff sits pretty tight. These brackets, you can mount them this way, you can mount them that way. I think these ones here, I'm going to mount them like this. And then this one here, you can mount it like that. Or again, you can mount it on the back side like that. This one will probably get mounted like this. Yeah. So far, so good. But I got some stuff I got to attend to out in the real world with my family. So we'll finish this off here in a bit. Keep watching. And we are back with one completed set of scissor hinges. These guys right here. Mostly completed. So I have not welded these on. The customer does not want these welded on because they have not decided how they're going to mount theirs yet. Depending on the setup of the framework underneath the bedwood will dictate which side they want that stuff all fashioned on. So I'll kind of give you an idea about what the range of motion is on these. And we are back, day 3 of assembling some of these scissor hinges here. I've got my welding surface all prepped and ready to rock. I've got this scissor hinge ready to go. I'm just going to TIG weld some of these plates back here. This we're going to weld this back plate on, and then we're going to weld this upper plate right here as well. Okay, so I've got this kind of jigged up, ready for me to weld. So you'll see these screws both sit, or these bolts both drop down into those two holes, and they line up with the edge of this. So you should be able to drop your bolt in, and then you only have to hold it from one end, the end that you're bolting up, if you use those holes. If you want, you can use these holes on the back. So I've got these kind of they're couplers, I guess is what you might call them. They're threaded on the inside, so they're holding those bolts nice and straight, captured inside that. So I'm just going to tack on the back here, and then once I have it tacked, I'm going to make sure it's square, and then I'll just do a nice little bead in there, and then I'm going to probably do a bead on the back side in there, and then across here. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, I've got both sets of hinges welded up. So I used TIG welding just so I didn't put a bunch of dirty MIG weld in there that will oxidize. And then my filler rod, I was able to use 304 stainless as well. That is the TIG weld. I'll clean it up with the stainless brush right there. That's the TIG weld on the other guy. And that's the TIG weld over there, and that one. So they're strong, they're square. That one needs to get a little bit hammered there, but that should square up pretty good. This one is kind of in the same position. As soon as I put a lot of heat on that, it pulls that part of the metal together. So there's not a lot I can do, really. I could. So I've done the best I can. Like I said previously, I'm just a hot rodder in his garage trying to make a product that everyone's gonna use. And this is the way that I go about doing it. If you'd prefer to spend a little bit more cash on them, and we'll get them welded by someone that knows what they're doing, that can put a really pretty weld on there for something that no one's ever gonna see, I'm 100% on board with that, and we can do that. If you want to pay someone else to do it just for your set of hinges, I'm cool with that too. Or if you want to do it, if you want to put a MIG weld on there, I don't care. If we want to powder coat these afterwards, I'm sure that'll look cool too. But as they are right now, they look pretty good. Like by the time you clean them off with a little bit of stainless, just a little bit of a brush, like that looks pretty good. Same thing with this one. Hit her a little bit, clean her up. Same thing on the back side a little bit. I'm pretty happy with them. I think they look sweet. Let's get a little action shot just to show you how they move. Let's do that. All right, folks, we're gonna get a little action shot here on how these scissor hinges work. So, pretend this is the back of the truck. This is the bottom of the bed right here, or this is the bed wood right here. You can watch how this thing is gonna articulate up. First it comes away, and then it moves back like this. Drops down. So, this being mounted to, say, a 1x1, we can even go ahead and do that. We'll mount a 1x1 right here, and then we'll move this, we'll articulate this way. But it should have similar action. We can give it a try. Let's put a 1x1 there. All right, folks, we are back. I've got a 1-inch spacer right there. So I could even give you some dimensions here on this whole scenario. All right. So the whole assembly from the 1-inch or the backing plate, what would be the edge of your bed, all the way to the end of this is about 10¼ inches. So the hinge assembly itself is about 9¼ from here all the way to here. And then height wise, from the bottom of the rail to the bottom of the assembly, it's about 4¼ inches. Now, with that being said, we got a 1-inch block right there. We've got this bracket mounted about, it works out to be about 3/4, just over 3/4 from the bottom of this rail here. And this thing ends up being about 3½ inches out from this part, or 2½ from here. Now this part here is 1 inch. Let's see how this moves. This is twisted. So you'll have to pardon me on that. This block right here. Oh, bugger. There we go. So you have, I'd say you got let's see how much rotation you have before this contacts this. Oh. Move this up a bit. Say it's touching it there. So it's got about 70 degrees of rotation. Can you see that? And up. Before it touches. So 70 degrees is the maximum amount you want. Not bad. So I've got a little prop set up here to display these hot rod hinges. Now, I took a little video with my phone also to show the action of the scissor hinges, to show how they move. Now we've got a few different ways to configure these. We have the welded on tabs, so you can just bolt them on. We also have the alternate bolt holes, so you can bolt them straight to the side of the steel, just like this. Or on the back side, sorry, it'll be like this. So, and these are designed with a 10 mil hole, so those will accept a 3/8 bit as well. They'll be a little bit sloppy if you use a 3/8, but that is fine. Also this thing, this side here as well, just like that. What else do we got here? Yeah, and then these tabs. So currently you can see these ones have been welded with the tabs facing this way. You can also weld them with the tabs on the back side. Same thing with this one, tabs on the back side, however you want. I do sell these, I'm making these as a left and a right, just so when you open up you do see the logos properly and you're not looking at the back side of the logo on the other side. I think that'll look silly. So this would essentially be the left hand side. I am going to attempt, my friends, to run something like this on these trucks. I think that would look cool. You can also run these vertically as well, just like this. It's really how it would be bolted up. I think that looks nice. That's a pretty sweet looking hinge. It would look pretty sweet in the truck. I'm going to see if there's a way I can fabricate that to work with these trucks. So, also, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. A guy could try to get a set of hinges like this in here somehow. These would have to be severely modified to fit in this 49 to 54 Bel Air style car. So, I'll pull everything off of the back of my truck here. I've got a bunch of stuff just from where I was assembling all these hinges. I'll clean this up and I'll just show you the way that my truck bed lifts. So let's do that. All right, we are at the bed of the truck. I've got everything pulled out. And now we're going to move this wood, and I'm going to show you how it actually functions with those hinges in. So yeah, let's do that. How am I going to do this? So I'm actually going to, currently the way that I have it set up is I just have a ratchet strap tied under here because I don't have any struts installed yet. So I'm just going to pull this out, and then I'll put my broom in and I'll show you how it all sits in there. Okay, now, this wood is not totally secured. This is my little disclaimer here. So when I made this piece of steel, when I got to the shop to pick it up, I only had my little Subaru with me and I needed to pick it up to try to test fit. So I actually just borrowed a zip disc from the laser shop and I just cut this thing in half to get it in my car. So I either have to weld it, cut it, shrink it, clean it up, or I just get a new one. Now, additionally, I got some bolts running through this bed floor. I need to replace them with the special locking kind of offset carriage bolts, just like that, to this inner frame here. See those bolts right there? Those are those. Now, that is hanging on this door, kind of, when I lift it up. So it's actually pulling this part up. This portion of the bedwood is not pulled tight down against my frame yet. So I'm just going to show you how I have it sort of fixtured in there. And my truck has the first revision or the first generation of these hinges before I modified them and cleaned them up and made them look a little bit better. And you'll see why I modified the mounts, and I gave you all those options to be able to mount in different ways. So let's crawl in here and take a look. Alrighty, so I've just got my broom holding this whole thing up, so hopefully it doesn't collapse on me. My neck is already sore from going to the gym. Oh, so this sucks. Okay, so the reason I installed my scissor hinges, so I can access my diff when I need to drain it and change the fluid on it, so I can access my fuel tank if I need to change the pump, check the regulator. My battery is also going to be located underneath here, and I have adjustable coilovers, these guys here, so if I want to modify my ride height, like, I have really easy access. I just lift up the bed and I get to it. I can change out my rear axle here, like my third member. I have access to everything when this bed is lifted up. Now, I should be able to lift up the bed even more because I have articulation available in my hinge, but it's not properly secured here. So if I lift this bed all the way up, these boards are going to hit the front of my truck, and I don't want that. Oh. So this is how I have these mounted. Now, I modified the way that the arms all curve and everything because when I finally got these installed, what I discovered is this arm I had to mount on the other side of this arm than this arm. You see that? There's like 3 planes. There's 1, 2, and then 3. Now, I curved them all and modified them so that the hinge could move, and you could just have your 2 arms on this side and 2 arms on that side. That's why I modified them. Now, my mounts. You'll see here I have this just welded right here. Poorly, just tacked in place. Same thing with this guy. It's currently sitting on this cross sill. Now I have my bed lifted, it's like 3 inches or 3.5 inches. You can see those spot welds right there. All across there, those are those. So that's how much I moved my bed up. And that was to clear this C-notch that I have right here. So yeah, that's how that's sitting. Oh, and they are sitting 1 inch away from that. And then this These bolts are in the exact same spot on these hinges as those other ones. I've just added an additional bolt hole right here and right here so that the top hinge can just bolt to this if you want to. But that is how I have mine mounted. I do want to cut these out and install the proper ones, like the new generation, the ones that I'm going to be selling to everyone else. I think these look a lot crappier than the other ones. My modifications are all much better. And I have different locking nuts and some different hardware. So I like the new ones better, and I don't want the old ones on my truck. So I might sell these if someone wants them. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just you have to mount this arm on the other side from this arm. They still look cool. Oh, let's crawl out of here without smashing my head on anything. Yeah, and then I just have, like I said, this little square tube kind of frame that captures the wood that the wood is bolted to. And then I got these cross sills here. The way that I built this is I didn't want any weight from whatever might be in the bed of my truck to be pushing down on these. And I also wanted to raise it enough that if I get any travel in my rear diff, it doesn't come up and hit the wood. It probably still will, because I'm gonna be driving the shit out of this thing. That's the plan anyways. All right folks, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like the video, comment, and buy a set of my hinges. Woo! Thanks, bye.